Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Art Whisper 88. I'm going to continue my inspiration series on Peter Green. I was so impressed with his body of work that I want to continue with inspiration from his geometric artwork. He truly is a master printmaker, something that I can aspire to be. Let's get started. I'm going to prepare a first layer. I'm going to do some random lines with my squirt bottle. Now this is filled with Mars Black acrylic. I'll just do some marks, some random marks. And here is some cadmium orange. Just put some spots, random spots here. This is Beige by Lucas. Now the idea here is to have the beige mix in with these marks. Normally I would wait for them to dry, but I'm going to go ahead and let them smear on purpose. This is my 4-inch brayer. So what the brayer does is create these repeating patterns. Okay. Now this paper is not Richardson, this is Strathmore, which I got from Jerry's Artorama. Now I'm not getting compensated for advertising. I'm just sharing with you the papers that I like. There's so many kinds, and you may like some, you may dislike some. So paper is a very personal choice. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes. Let's see how we made out. So I can tell when it's a good transfer. The plate is clinging to the paper like a piece of tape. I just have to be very careful when I peel this off. It's a very different effect here. This looks like a pastel drawing. You can see it's really stuck on the paper. It's coming off the printing bed. It happens sometimes. It's okay. Wow. How cool is that? It's pretty dramatic for a first layer. It really looks like pastel because of the fine textures. So what I plan to do is overlap this with some flat shapes, maybe opaque, maybe semi-transparent. I have to figure it out, but this is still a first layer. I want to combine it with something else. So I will air dry this and I will be right back. Okay, everybody, here we are at the second step. Now, I just happened to run out of acrylic. I've been using it so much, and I have this backup. This is folk art acrylic. Now, this is usually used for crafts and school projects, so it's not an expensive paint, and I want to encourage you not to use expensive paint when you are just learning the ropes. And it's going to give me a chance to try this out. It seems like it's a little watery, but I'm going to give it a try anyway. Or maybe it hasn't been mixed properly because it's been sitting on my shelf for a very long time. So I'll give it a try. It hasn't been mixed well. What I should have done is pour some into a plastic container and mix it with a brush, but too late now. See, the thing about these cheaper paints for students, they're not as fine. In other words, the pigment content is very coarse. It's not fine ground. And that explains why it's cheaper to make. But there's no reason not to use it if you are just learning. So you don't have to worry about very high cost of materials when you are still learning the ropes. Now, I have been printmaking for a very long time, but I still learn something every day. So I'm not afraid to use different materials and try them out and experiment. Okay, I'm just going to even this out. Now what I suspect is going to happen, because this is like a coarse pigment, there's going to be a lot of texture, which is not a bad thing. Let me just clean up some of this. Since it's so watery, it got underneath the stencil. Okay. So here is the first pull. Okay, so I'm going to leave this on for about 5 minutes and keep my fingers cold. Okay, let's see how we made out with this budget paint. Not too bad. A little somber. I think it needs a tiny spot of color. So I will air dry this and I'll be right back. Okay, here we are at the third and final layer. I want to do a band of azo vermilion in the middle. Now this is a far superior paint. You can tell by the way it behaves. It's very creamy and it flows very well. To be honest with you, I'm not happy with the folk art paint. It's not appropriate for printmaking. It's much better for crafts and, school projects. So we'll do the azo vermilion here. Okay, I'm not going to do too much. Now I will flatten it out first. Okay, that's a generous application, so I know it's going to be opaque. So now the next color is, this is raw sienna. This is also a very good paint. This is Liquitex. And you can tell a good paint by its consistency, that it's creamy and it handles very, has a silky quality to it. Okay, I'm going to use a different brayer so it doesn't contaminate. So brayer can handle a thick, sticky paint better than a brush, because a brayer is like a steamroller. It would just flatten everything out. And when the paint is flat, it transfers better. Because you have to remember the paper is flat, the plate is flat. You're working with a flat surface. So it's best to have a paint that is laying flat, doesn't have any high spots. Okay, I'm just evening this out. Okay. Now, if this were paper, this would tear. This stencil is taking a lot of strain by being pulled. That's why I like these reusable stencils made of folder dividers. They're fairly strong. One viewer suggested manila envelopes. It's fine for 1 or 2 uses, but it will never hold up to the kind of stress that goes to a stencil when it's being pulled off the plate. You have to remember the plate is very, very sticky. It's like duct tape. Okay, so here is the piece with the 2 layers. And I'm hoping that the orange will kind of liven up the composition. So I learned my lesson. Craft paint is not good for printmaking. It's good for crafts. You want to make a decent print, use decent paint. And to name a few brands that I like, Liquitex, this Blick, my favorite, Amsterdam, and Soho paints. I use those a lot and I'm used to them. They're not that expensive if comparatively, and I get a lot of compliments from them. Okay, so I will leave this on for about 5 minutes to allow the paper to absorb all the pigment, and I will be right back. Okay, it's been over 5 minutes actually. Let's see how we made out here. Again, the plate is sticking to the paper. I'm gonna peel it off very carefully. I think the cadmium red has provided the right kind of contrast. Okay. Very cool. I like that. It's no longer very somber. It's got some snap to it. Now the edges are a little raggedy, but that's okay. It's not too bad. So I will air dry this and then recap. Okay, everybody, here's the last leg of this journey. Let me show you a close-up. I think this is a very dramatic contrast between the fiery red and the very cool grayish black background. And the texture of the paper plays a big role in this. It gives it a very kind of impressionistic texture. Almost like a charcoal drawing. I hope you liked this video. I had a lot of fun doing this. This really was a journey, an exploration, and I never know where I end up, but I'm pretty happy with the result. And I hope you do your own experiments and find things out for yourself and enjoy the ride. Before I close, I would like to feature a friend from the UK, a viewer from across the pond, and sit back and enjoy. And once more, thank you so much for watching. And check out artwhisperer88.com, which is my website, and all the sales help to keep this channel going. Thank you, and I hope to see you next time.